War has always been a testing ground for courage, where men and women are pushed to the limits of their endurance and bravery. From the front lines to the history books, countless stories of valor have emerged, each one unique, yet tied together by a single thread: the will to stand firm in the face of unimaginable danger. One such story is that of Sergeant Alvin C. York, one of the most decorated American soldiers in World War I. His incredible acts of bravery during the Meuse-Argonne offensive in 1918 turned the course of the battle, and his story has become one of the most legendary tales of courage under fire in military history. The Meuse-Argonne offensive, a massive Allied attack against German forces in France, was one of the largest and most decisive campaigns of World War I. It was a battle of attrition with both sides locked in a deadly struggle. In the midst of this chaotic and brutal conflict, Sergeant Alvin York and his unit were tasked with taking out a heavily fortified German machine gun position that had been mowing down Allied forces. The mission seemed almost impossible. York and his fellow soldiers were faced with an entrenched enemy in a heavily defended position, and the odds were stacked against them. But it was in this very moment of seemingly insurmountable adversity that York's extraordinary courage and resourcefulness came into play. As his platoon advanced, they were ambushed by German machine gun fire, and many of his men were either wounded or killed. York, however, did not retreat. In fact, he saw an opportunity. With remarkable calm and precision, he began picking off German soldiers one by one, using his rifle with incredible accuracy. One soldier after another fell, but York kept moving forward, knowing that his actions were the only chance for his comrades to succeed. What followed was nothing short of legendary. Despite being outnumbered and under intense fire, York's determined and methodical approach allowed him to capture a group of 132 German soldiers. In one of the most remarkable feats of individual bravery in military history, York single-handedly neutralized the German threat and led the prisoners back to Allied lines. But what makes York's story even more inspiring was not just his skill with a rifle, but his deep-rooted sense of duty and humility. Raised in the mountains of Tennessee, York was a deeply religious man who had once struggled with the idea of violence, but his sense of honor and responsibility to his fellow soldiers led him to perform one of the most courageous acts of the war. For his actions, York was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, and his story was celebrated worldwide. He became an iconic figure not just for his military achievements, but for the strength of character and integrity that underpinned his bravery. His courage in the heat of battle became a symbol of selflessness and honor. York's story didn't just remain confined to the pages of history. His actions inspired countless others, and his legacy lives on as a shining example of the power of individual courage in the face of overwhelming odds. From the front lines of World War I, he became a figure of legend, a man whose bravery resonated far beyond the battlefield. The true story of Sergeant Alvin C. York is one of countless examples of courage under fire. It's a reminder that heroism is not always about grand gestures or dramatic moments. Sometimes it's about standing firm when everything is falling apart. It's about making a split-second decision in the heat of battle and knowing that your actions will save lives, change the course of history, and inspire generations to come. History is filled with stories of bravery, but the story of Alvin C. York is a shining beacon illuminating what it truly means to be courageous under fire. His journey from the front lines of war to the pages of history serves as an enduring testament to the power of an individual's courage and the incredible impact it can have on the world.